Welcome to the Final Point podcast. I'm your host, Adriel. As you can see, I'm currently cooked, and I have my co-host, Josh, part of the billion-dollar team.
You're getting a sunburn at this point.
Oh, I'm well worth through that already, man. I am burnt.
Yeah. So far, not that exciting of an off season, but I guess we're gonna get into it, right?
Yeah, we're gonna just jump
Yeah.
right into the only news of the whole off season, other than Kevin Love. Alex Burks got traded.
Wait a minute. Backtrack. Kevin Love being signed is not news. Continue.
Not exactly, not
Don't try
news,
to sneak him in there. That's not news.
but that's all. That's literally all we got. So,
Right.
Alex Burks has been traded to the Miami Heat on a 1 year deal. Let's see what the hell. Listen, I'm going to give my thoughts on the trade really quick before I go
Yeah.
into my rant. But I think Alex Burks is a good pickup in the sense of we needed athleticism in the bench, and he provides that along with taking it to the hole. We don't have any players that can take it to the hole really, other than I guess Rozier, but he doesn't finish well. So this is actually a guy that can finish. Give them some speed on that second unit. So and like what I have on screen right now, this is exactly what's going to happen. Uh, he's going to turn into Michael Jordan during a Boston first round playoffs, and it's going to be
The
glorious.
Heat getting their hopes up once again. Getting their hopes up once again, man. Dude, you know what? You don't put so much expectations on Alex Burke because I remember the expectations you put on a Victor Oladipo.
He did
You
perform.
thought he was the second coming
It's just
of
no.
Jordan.
I always thought he was great.
No. He was great in the Magic, and on the Pacers.
And some games on the Heat, playoff games on the Heat.
No memorable games from Victor Oladipo, man, on the Heat. I mean, he played ball, but dude, that injury killed him, man. He was so good on the Magic.
Oh yeah, he
He was cooking on the Pacers.
offensively he was so limited, but at least defense he had a bunch of steals on Jalen Brown, and I
Don't get your hopes up, dude. And listen to me.
no, I'm not getting my
Going,
hopes up, but
I
I
know,
think on
but
the bench it's fine.
going forward, don't include Jalen Brown's name with names like Victor Oladipo. Okay, put some respect on the champ's name. We do not mention Jalen Brown's name with anybody from the Heat right now. Okay, continue.
For now.
At least until next playoffs to see how everything works out. Listen, your Heat have been atrocious. Alex, if you know the offseason is bad for a team when you're starting off the podcast talking about Alec Burks gonna be Jordan, that's pretty bad. Start off with Kevin Love and Alex Burks. Come
But
on, dude. This
li-
has been so
listen, man,
fun to watch.
they're
The
cooking.
Heat
They're cooking.
the Heat
They got some food.
meltdown on social media has been so fun to watch. You guys were focused on Donovan Mitchell, and Donovan Mitchell signing to the Cavs was a blow to the Heat. Even though I still think it can happen, just not now. Maybe mid trade deadline. Maybe the Cavs pull the trigger on that trade. But how do you feel about this offseason, man? It's been pretty bad for you guys.
Um, this off season, first off, I'm gonna talk about the Heat fans because I've been pissed off about that. The ridiculous things I've seen on X, the ridiculous things I've seen on YouTube. Listen, guys. Number one, we're gonna be okay. Number two, you people out there on X, Heat Twitter, whatever, talking about we should tank right now. We should give up. jump off the ship. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are a bunch of losers. That's loser mentality. What do you guys think that we are? The Detroit Pistons? You think
Yes.
you think that we're Atlanta? Listen, man.
No,
I
I,
I
I'd rather
I
be Atlanta.
I'll say that I have a a bunch of major questions with this upcoming season about this team and how it's constructed and some of these off-season uh, moves that they've been doing. And
Or lack thereof.
yeah, this strategy or whatever you want to call it. Um, a lot of things I don't agree with, but there's one thing I will never agree with, and it's gonna be the tank to lose. None of listen, man. They can still be competitive. Are they a championship team? Hell no. But can they still be competitive? Yes, and that's as a fan, that's all you can ask for if they can't give you obviously a championship, which we can probably, we see that it's probably not going to happen. But, you know, to just start for the chance for tanking and people fighting with other who should we keep Tyler Hero? Should we trade Tyler Hero? Do we hate Tyler Hero? Do we like to listen, guys? You guys need to, just like Pat Riley said, you guys need to get a grip. All right? You guys got to get a grip because from what I've seen out here is you guys aren't real. You guys aren't real fans trying to jump off the ship like that. You if the ship is burning, you go down with the ship.
I don't think they were jumping off the ship. I just think that they were being realistic. It's not like the Heat are coming off of a great postseason or a great season. They had to make a splash in the offseason and they didn't. So it's not so much that they're jumping off ship. They're upset and rightfully so. I mean, there's been no moves from that front office. Pat Riley wants to run it back. And you didn't have Terry Rozier healthy towards the end. Jimmy, of course, was injured towards the end. So he thinks that they can run it back, but you guys were at least one piece. You guys needed one key piece. Hero was not it.
Yeah,
So
I agree with that too. Hey, listen, you were the first one to know. I was pissed. I was mad this whole offseason about some of these moves. But what 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 I can't just fathom is is having people just write off the team, and I can't do that. I would never do that. I don't care how bad, because you know what? Any of these team iterations in the last 5 to 6 years uh, cannot be worse than having Rodney McGruder on your team and Tyler Johnson getting paid $50 million with Whiteside as a starting center. It can't be as bad as those days. You can't talk me into that. So I'll take this team over that any day, and that regular season any day. Even though if Jimmy isn't healthy, then we have a big issue. But um, what what can happen at least, and I'm not all for this trade either. I don't really like the fit, but if maybe by Friday or sometime on the weekend we get news somehow that DeMar is on the move to the Heat, um, I think that'd be a good pickup, but I don't like it either. I don't like the fit. Um,
well,
I,
yeah. I
but
mean,
at that point, you're and you got to be desperate, and you just have to take as much best talent that you can get and ride with it.
the only thing that I will say on the DeMar DeRozan piece, if you guys do add him, what you will have going for what the Heat will have going for them is if DeMar is anything that he was in the past 2 years with the Bulls, which is an ISO, a great ISO player that sometimes requires double teams. That's a lot of open shots for Bam. It's a lot of open shots for Duncan. So he's gonna collapse the defense and create some open shots. But we're gonna have to see a whole nother side of Jimmy. Jimmy has shown that he could be a sort of like a Swiss Army knife. And I think more than ever, the Heat are going to rely heavily on Jimmy staying healthy. Jimmy's going to have to, this is what it's going to take. Jimmy's going to have career averages in assists. Jimmy's going to have career averages in points, rebounds, and he's going to have to win some close games for the Heat. Bam's going to have another All Star. Did Bam make the All Star team last year?
Yeah,
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 he did. Bam's going to have another All Star um, year. And I'm sorry, but if they don't move Hero, if Hero's not included into that DeRozan trade, Hero's got to come off the bench, man. I'm sorry, Hero,
yeah.
you're not a starter, dude. You proved that you're not a starter. You play better off the bench. You're gonna have to come off the bench for this team and just put your ego to the side. That's what it's gonna have to take. And that's what I think Pat Riley is banking on. That Jimmy's gonna have a great season with the acquisition of DeMar DeRozan. If it does happen, I think Spoelstra will make it work. He's a good basketball mind. He's the second greatest basketball mind in the league today, behind Joe Mazzulla, the Joe Mazzulla. I think Spo would make it work. So if it does happen for you guys, I think that it's not the worst thing that can happen to you guys. And listen, right now you guys are running out of options. There's nobody left.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
That's it.
I don't like the trade personally because the only reason I think of it as a fit issue, Demar is a big ISO mid range guy, and Jimmy's also kind of the same type of game as well. And Bam likes to take the pull up jumpers. So I'm trying to think of what can if we're not shooting
Hey,
well, the issues for spacing. However, you have to take the talent because you can't have Caleb Martin if he's still on the team making ISOs on teams like the Knicks or the
how
Suns.
about if DeRozan comes off the bench? I don't think he'll do that.
Yeah,
But
I
if he
mean
comes off the bench with that second unit, maybe you got something there.
with a rookie,
But will DeRozan do that?
Jovic or
Right.
Khalil Ware lineup.
This is the problem with former stars, and I call DeRozan a star because listen, he's had some good seasons in the NBA. He's very productive in his career.
Even the last
But
season, I mean, he played like 71 games, which is
yeah,
crazy for someone
and
in
he
his
put up
age.
some numbers. He put up some numbers. So I don't think he'll come off the bench, but that'll be interesting to see if maybe he'll come off the bench um towards I think this is going to be kind of be the last couple seasons of his career. I think maybe he got maybe
Yeah,
what, like 2 years left. How old is he 35?
yeah, 35.
35. He literally ended his prime with the Bulls, and not much happened there. Maybe this is like
If
a
he buys
job
in,
that he's willing to take, right? A challenge he's willing to take. So let's see what happens with DeMar DeRozan to the Heat. That'll be interesting.
and also as well, I'm with you too on that. Tyler Hero should be on the bench. I
Yeah,
felt like
he has to come off the bench.
I felt like he flowed better too when he came off the
100%.
bench with the second unit because then all the pressure was off of him. All you need to do is score, make baskets. I I felt like that was just the best role for him, but I know he probably doesn't want to accept that, unfortunately. So I really don't know what they're gonna do with him. We have to see what the Heat do also with this trade because the Lakers are already out on him, and he doesn't want to make no 5-6 mil apparently. So I know Miami doesn't have the cap space. I don't know how they're gonna make it work. Someone's gonna have to get traded, or so.
DeMar, listen to me. DeMar's gonna have to take a uh a lesser role. He's probably gonna have to take less money and he's gonna have to gamble on himself. I think he got one more, maybe 2 year, $20 million contract left in him, but he's gonna have to prove himself this season. If DeMar signs with the Heat and he goes off and he has a couple of 20, he's averages 20 points and he helps the Heat into a deep playoff run, then he's gonna get his contract next season. Because listen, next season the money will be there. The money's all dried up right now. There's nothing left for him to. So the Heat need DeRozan. DeRozan needs the Heat. Maybe it's a match made in heaven. Maybe it works. Maybe it's a complete
Yeah,
disaster. Either way, I'll be here for it all.
and either way,
It's
I
gonna
want
be
to see it
great.
happen because
Yeah, right,
we haven't done anything. So anything to
right.
make the team better.
Yeah, it's been pretty sad.
So let's move on from this dire subject, but let's move on to the OKC. Let's talk about OKC. They've made some big uh, signings. They've also done a lot of re-signing.
Pinpoint,
Uh,
pinpointed it.
they have been gathering picks again. I mean, they are right now what every other team in the NBA wants to be. Just a bright, bright, bright future, and a lot of great players on their team. Um,
They got exactly what they needed. They needed rebounds, and they go out and get Isaiah Hartenstein. And then they needed someone to lock up on defense and to be that fire on the team, and that's going to be Caruso. They've managed to do this and not even give up most of their picks. They still have a lot of their picks. That's the scary part about it. OKC is the blueprint for how you run an organization. Sam Presti has once again proven to be the executive of the decade. Well, Brad Stevens is arguing with him on that one. We got to
yeah,
debate him and Brad. But yeah, man, OKC is filled up all their needs. OKC is gonna be scary this year, man. I see OKC and Boston in the finals. I see
um,
OKC and Boston in the finals.
I,
That's what it's looking like, man.
I
Because
I
they
don't
are
know
that
about
good.
that, but however, I'll give it to you though. They have built a very impressive young team. They definitely got like they got two additions that match the way they play, just very like scrappy.
Perfect, perfect.
It fits so it's a great fit, and I think their team is very complete now. And they're going to give a lot of teams in the West a lot of issues. But um, I do like their future, man, because they're stacked with all those picks. They just got Chet, who had a great first season. I mean, they're and oh my god, and don't even get me started on Jalen Williams, bro. That guy
Yeah,
is like he's like a mini Bam almost, but just way more athletic.
I like
He
Jalen a lot, man. Yeah, he's
he
good.
he has crazy defense. He can move. He switches everything, and he's scrappy.
Yeah,
I,
no, no,
I
they
I love it.
drafted really well. I mean, they've done everything the right way, and I just think they were just maybe a one piece, maybe two pieces away last year to really compete and go to the NBA finals. They came close this year. They had the best record in the West, and they just needed rebounds, man. And they got Hartenstein now. That's gonna be he's gonna go crazy on the boards, and Caruso's gonna help them out, man. This is gonna be Shea's MVP. Shea's gonna be up there for MVP votes,
For sure,
possibly in the top three again.
for sure, for sure. Um, so now that we've talked about OKC, I have a topic here, Josh. You're gonna love the $1 billion team.
Yeah, we have a $1 billion team in Boston. A lot of people are questioning how can they afford all of this. Well, let's just say it's the timing of it is all great because some of these extensions won't kick in until next year. The Tatum and the White extension do not kick in until after 2025. So on the books right now, we're in the second apron with the luxury tax. But if you look at just the extensions and you just crunch all the numbers, you think to yourself, how is this possible? Because there's a salary cap, but a lot of this money will not count for another season or two. So that's the only reason why it's gonna work. Now, in 3 4 years, is it gonna catch up? Absolutely, it is. But remember, this Brad Stevens is a genius. Because KCP is only on a 2 year. Okay. You got Drew on the 4, you got Jalen on the 5, Tatum on the 5, and White on the 4, but KCP's only on 2. So this KCP window may just be 2 years. Okay, because and I like it because of his injury history. Okay. And who knows if this ends up not working for Boston. They still have some flexibility. They can move him. It's a movable contract. I like what they did. We had to get these extensions done because we're talking about the Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, the end of Drew Holiday in his prime, but we're still getting prime Drew Holiday and Derek White in his prime. So we've locked up three key pieces in their prime. Drew Holiday towards the end of his prime, and we got KCP, which is the perfect fit for this group. I love what they did. It is an expensive team, but so far we got our money's worth. We have one championship. With I think at least we're good for two more in the next 5 years. I'm thinking two more because players are going to want to come play with them. If the KCP thing doesn't work out, players are gonna want to come play with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So I think that this $1 billion team is just it's a product of just perfect timing and a genius executive in Brad Stevens. That front office has been amazing. They've put this all together, and it makes sense for the next 4 years. You had to get this done.
I think it had to be done as well. It's just I what I like actually about Brad Stevens is everything seemed like it was planned from a long time ago. They had an end game, and this is the end game right now. And yeah, and I think those contracts are movable. I think they'll have value. I think even at minimum, if you have Porzingis play most of your games next season and is at least effective from what he was last season, I would believe he would at least for draft compensation. Any one of those two players, when their contracts are over, can easily be a first, second round pick,
Yeah.
which you guys can stack on and go out and get some other maybe veteran minimum low guys that would work out in your system. So yeah, they completely banked on the Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown era, and I think that was the right move. I mean, you have to.
Hey, but also we got some sneaky signings, some extensions that we did. We signed Kada, the big man, the 7 foot developmental project that he was front runner MVP in the G League with the Maine G League team, which is the Boston Celtics G League team in Maine. He was a front runner for MVP. This dude is a beast. If he can, I don't know what's stopping him from being a rotational player. I don't know what it is. They know more than me, obviously. I don't know what they see in practice or whatever it is, why he's not in the rotation. But this dude, if you see some highlights of him, I mean, he is freaky athletic, and he has a knack for the ball. He reminds me of a Rob Williams with how fast he gets off the ground. I'm hoping this season we get some more minutes. I think the only way he's gonna get ready and be more available with this core is if he gets minutes with them. And I hope that Joe Mazzulla gives him some breaks with this team because he can be special. And then we got the draft pick that we just drafted, the
Yep.
Sherman sharpshooter guy. We're gonna re-sign Hauser. We re-signed Cornette.
You
Pritchard's
resigned
locked in for another year or two.
Tillman too, right?
Yeah, and Tillman just got re-signed. So the entire team is back. Why we can't run this thing back? We have a few teams standing in our way. I get it, but I like our chances to run this thing back, man.
And you guys might even play Tillman more off of his performance. I mean, in
Yeah,
those finals games. I mean, he played ball those games.
yeah, he
I
did.
liked what I saw from him also. Um, so I mean, yeah, I mean the Celtics are pretty much set. They're locked in right now. They are the team to beat in the Eastern Conference, and the East runs through Massachusetts, unfortunately. But
Yes, it does.
uh,
It runs through Mass Pike,
hopefully,
across the Tobin Bridge.
Jimmy Butler's MCL will get us through this. Hopefully, you know, maybe Alex Burks will get us through this.
Jimmy Butler's gonna get a bionic leg. Watch, he's gonna show
Oh
up
my
with a
God,
freaking bionic leg.
he's gonna need it. He's gonna need it with some golf piercings on it. We're gonna need it, bro. Next, we have on the podcast the Dallas Mavericks, my friends. Clay is a Mav. How do you like the fit?
Well, I mean, we kind of saw this coming. I heard that he declined a couple contracts from other teams from for more money. One of them being the Lakers. I heard that they were offering him 80 for 4 years. He took the 60 for three. Um, and I like this fit a lot, man. Look, we all know Clay's not the volume dribbler, and with this team, he wasn't gonna be able to. So this is actually a perfect fit for him. I think Clay is gonna find his shot again. It's a new situation. He's out of the expectations of the Splash Brothers persona that he had in Golden State. I think this is really going to work for Clay, man. Because if you think about it, how many open shots did Josh Green get? How many open shots did PJ Washington?
Oh, they
You
they
know,
they needed a knockdown shooter like that. A proven.
DJJ had a season with them. You know, just off of catch and shoot. That's what Clay does. Clay is a catch and shooter, and he is one of the best to ever do it. So this fit is like a glove. I like what Dallas did. They needed Clay. Clay recognized that he works better in Dallas than he does in LA. He didn't choose the glamour of LA. He wasn't blinded by the lights and and all that. So I love the fact that he chose Dallas over LA. This is gonna work for Clay.
Yeah, I like the fit too. I still think maybe Clay has at least maybe 2 3 more years in the NBA anyways.
Yeah.
Um, I still feel like he can be an effective player for you. However, he did have a really horrid season. But I
He did,
mean,
and his defense was horrible, man. I mean, Clay
but
used to be a lockup defender, and his
yeah,
that injury killed his defensive capabilities. But he's still Clay, and that
yeah.
that shot's gonna start. That shot gotta fall, man. Eventually, you got to get all the misses out the way, and I think he did.
And there was a lot. I mean, I guess you could call it emotional situations also happening. I feel like just the era of the Splash Brothers, like it came already to a crashing halt. It's over. And
Yeah,
it's
he
a good
he
change.
wasn't the same player, and he couldn't take it. He
Exactly.
couldn't handle it. Listen, he lost his starting spot to Podvanitsky, whatever his name is. He
Yeah.
lost. That's an ego hit, man. That shit hits your ego.
hmm it was a good change of scenery that just needed to happen. And unfortunately, he had to have this breakup with Golden State. It was just over. And I think now he'll embrace his role. He'll buy in. And I think he could be at least a 15 to 18 point per game shooter for you,
Yeah,
space the
yeah.
floor at least when
He's gonna
Luca
get a lot of open shots, man.
it's going to make that dynamic duo way more dangerous because now you have to worry about a floor spacer like him, proven shooter, one of the greats, like you said. So I like this addition. It makes sense for them.
It absolutely does.
And now that we've talked about Dallas, the Eastern Conference, my friend, like we just said earlier, Boston is the team to beat. You have New York, who has just loaded up as well. You have the 76ers that have loaded up and re signed a bunch of guys and are still in contention for more moves to be made. We have Indiana that re signed their team. We have Orlando that has significantly strengthened after winning a division. Um, and we still have moves to be made. So what type of team what teams are you looking forward to having an eye on, and who do you think made really good additions this year?
Well, listen, this is the first time in a long time because we're coming off of that 10-year Cavaliers Warriors finals runs that shit just got so boring after a while. I love the parity in the NBA right now. If this is a great time to be an NBA fan because as good as the Celtics are and as good as they're gonna be, I don't think there's a clear cut favorite to win the championship. I really don't. Boston did not, and I'm you know me. I love my Celtics. We dodged The Nuggets. The Nuggets gave us hell during the regular season. We have no answer for Jokic. So we dodged the Nuggets last season. Um, it's the parity in the NBA. The level of competition is crazy. The West has always been dominant. The East is there now. I mean, there's legitimately three teams in the East, three teams in the West that you can just toss it up, and any of them can win an NBA championship.
For sure.
With the Sixers adding Paul George, another perfect fit, like the Clay to Dallas. I mean, how perfect was that? Philly did not need a ball hog shooting guard. They did not need that because they got Maxi. Maxi's like a hybrid shooting guard, point guard, so he's doing it. They got the best center in the NBA right now. MVP Joel Embiid. They needed Paul George. This was actually so perfect for them. I don't know what version of Paul George they're gonna get, but even in, let's say he's at least maybe 60-70% of what Paul George used to be,
Yeah,
that's still fucking
exactly.
pretty good, man.
At
That's
least
still pretty
20
good.
points per game average.
Yeah. And if Joel Embiid is healthy the whole time, as a Celtics fan, yeah, I'm kind of scared because we don't have an answer for Joel Embiid or for Jokic. We don't have an answer for bigs. Uh Porzingis is not really the defensive stud that we would like him to be. I mean, we have no answers for them. They don't have answers for a lot of stuff that we do. It'll be a great matchup, but that does scare me.
And
So the East is really, really, really good. There's no team that can say, okay, well, I'll put all my money on this team's gonna win. I don't have it. Celtics have a good chance, but the Knicks have improved tremendously. I don't like that they lost Hardenstein. I think a lot of people are gonna realize that's a bigger loss than they think because Mitchell
that
Robinson's always injured.
I was also going to say the same. I think that Hartenstein move is going to hurt them because
Yeah,
now they lost some size and
they lost rebounds, they lost size, and he did so much for that team. You don't realize how much he did for that team without Julius Randle there.
I mean,
So
in the middle of the season when they injected him into the starting lineup, I mean that team changed. They went
it
on
went,
a run.
yeah,
They
a
went on a
hundred
run.
percent.
So I'm curious to see what they do. But yeah, I think that hurt them, especially in a league that is now getting bigger. They got a couple. They got a couple like undersized guards there. Um,
Listen, they're gonna listen. One thing is for sure. The Knicks, if healthy the whole season, they're gonna win a shitload of games. That chemistry is
that motor.
unlike any other. That chemistry is the Villanova Wildcats chemistry that they're bringing to MSG. That's unmatched, with the exception of the Celtics, who've been that core's been together for a little while now, with the exception of Drew Holiday just arriving. But that chemistry is there, and they're going to win a whole lot of games. They're going to be right there with us. Philly's going to be right there with us if they're all healthy. I expect the Pacers are not going to go away. They're going to be right there as well. The Magic made some good moves. I think Magic are only going to get better. This is a top five. These top five teams in the East are pretty good. The Heat, I think, unfortunately, are on the outside looking in. The Heat are gonna. One thing is for sure. I call them the zombies for a reason. We haven't seen the last of the Heat. I think they're gonna pull something. Not in terms of a acquisition. I said that right. But I'm talking about in terms of just their play. I don't think they're gonna fold. I think they're gonna show up all season long. I think Jimmy's on the clock for a big contract. This is his last contract. This is Jimmy's last hurrah. If Jimmy shows up, Pat will reward him. I don't think anything less than an Eastern Conference Finals will do it. I think that it's going to take that for Jimmy to get that aura back. Playoff Jimmy right now is kind of dead. He didn't have a chance to do it last year. I completely get it. But in the regular season, he doesn't show up in the regular season. So I'm curious to see what he's gonna do. This is good, the most exciting regular season that's coming up. I'm so excited for this season because the West is competitive, East is competitive. We don't know what the fuck we're gonna get. This is gonna be crazy.
Yeah, the West is also a very interesting side.
Yeah, top
I mean,
five teams are really, really good.
New Orleans just got better. OKC is killing it. the Nuggets are going to be on revenge.
Well, but with the Nuggets, hey, the Nuggets didn't really do anything in the offseason. It's been quiet.
No,
They lost KCP. That's a huge loss.
yep, they lost
That's
to
a huge
Casey.
loss. So I don't think they had the cap to do anything. They didn't have the cap space to do anything. But I don't. I mean, they didn't make any noise at all. They
No,
are running it back. A lot of teams are running it back. Nuggets being one of them.
Minnesota has also made very little changes other
They
than
have
Kyle
no
Anderson.
cap space. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
they're
strapped. They're
loaded,
gonna run it back as well.
and
But they have a
and
really good team though.
and there's rumors right now going on that Golden State's trying to acquire Laurie Markkinen, which
The
if that
Warriors
does,
have they have a couple picks. They have a couple picks
and they
that
just freed
they
up
right.
space now with Clay, and apparently,
And they have an interesting trade piece.
hmm
One of the more interesting um projects for any NBA team. Each NBA team has like a project that they're like working on, and and hopefully it turns into this great player. Jonathan Kuminga is that for the Warriors. Jonathan Kuminga, we don't know what he can be. We just know that he can be special. We don't know what version of special we're gonna get from him, but Jonathan Kuminga got it, man. I mean, when he's on,
yeah,
and he's shown flashes of greatness. That's an interesting trade piece. Will they part with Jonathan Kuminga for a, let's say, Brandon Ingram or for Lauri Markkinen? I mean, it's going to be one of them risks you're going to have to take.
yeah, but
Like that Shea Gilgeous to LA.
yeah,
They partied with Shea, and now they're feeling it. I'm sorry, that was the worst trade in NBA history. But
yeah, for
they
sure.
took a risk, and listen, it worked out for OKC. Whoever gets Jonathan Kuminga, this may work out for them.
Yeah, I like the guy. However, I feel like if you're Golden State and that's what they want, and maybe some picks, you make that trade any day because Lauri Markkinen is a beast. He's durable. He can play most of the 70 games for you. He still is super young, can space the floor, is a paint animal. I
Oh, he's
mean,
perfect
high
for the Warriors. And
rebounds.
and
Yeah,
and how many years does Curry have?
exactly, exactly. You have
We're,
you
we're
have to
we're
go in.
looking at the end of the era of the greatest shooting, the greatest shooter in NBA history. He got what, like 3 more years left, maybe two. I mean, he's in
Probably.
good
I,
shape.
yeah, I'd say like maybe 3 or 4 at maximum.
I think you pull the trigger. I think you give them Kaminga with a couple picks.
Yeah,
That is it right there.
you make that trade.
I think that trade scenario from the Warriors, those those trade assets that Kaminga with the picks, that's good enough to get just about any good player right now.
Yeah,
Maybe even Brandon Ingram,
yeah,
because that's a really good asset. They have, because who knows what these picks are gonna look like in like 2 or 3 years. We
exactly.
don't know what the Warriors are gonna be like. So
It's it's a lot of like things
yeah,
going
yeah.
around right now. And it's still early in free agency, so it's starting. Right now, the market has kind of died out a little bit. Everyone
There's
seems
still
to be
one
waiting
more.
for something. Yeah,
Something's about to happen. Something
hmm
big. I don't know what it is.
it could happen
Something's
right tonight. It could happen by the ending of tonight.
where we're gonna be like, whoa, what was that?
Yeah,
We don't know. I don't think the Celtics going to be involved in it. I think we're done. There's only a few teams that can actually make a move like that. The Warriors are one of them. The Bulls.
Sacramento also has
I
been.
heard Sacramento was a favorite to land DeMar DeRozan, which is a great landing spot for DeMar DeRozan. If you can get to Sacramento with what they got going on up there, I think that would work for him. So I mean, listen,
Yeah,
there's a couple
I
landing
mean,
spots for him. He doesn't have to go to Miami.
of course, yeah,
Miami may get left holding the bag,
of course, of
and
course.
you guys may have to just run it back. So I
Kalair
mean,
Ware, bro. We're
that's
gonna
just
go
the
all in.
reality of it, man. That's
Ware,
the
bro.
reality of it. It feels so good because knowing that this season we can possibly see the demise of the Miami Heat. This can go either really bad, like tanking mode season, or we can see uh-oh, we thought they were gone, but no, they're not. Miami
I'm
Heat.
I'm gonna say it from right now before the season starts. Their biggest goal of the year is don't make the play in. Don't get sucked in the play in game again.
Well, you got to play in the regular season then, man. I mean, Jimmy
Exactly.
cannot take games off.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. They need to take the regular season super serious, and Jimmy needs to take it serious because yes, I get it. He's trying to, not the he just can't do it every single night. He tries to kind of pace through the regular season. I get it, but at the same time, like we do not have the talent for you to just sit back and relax. We just
No,
don't. So if you want to stay in Miami and you want to keep doing this, you're gonna have to play these 70 games or 60. I think he can. I think if he does a solid 60 to 65 games this year, that's a heaven sent. That's great. I'll take
I
that. But because he isn't gonna be playing every game. I just know it. He won't.
he, he has to.
Gonna miss it.
I think he is. I think Jimmy is going to play every game. I think the Heat are going to compete. I think that they like to be like this underdog sort of role. It's kind of like a sick game.
Yeah,
Like they're like a bunch of jokers over there. It's like they like to be like counted out, and n- never more than this season will they be counted out because I have them seventh or eighth in the East.
but I
That's where I have them at.
a lot of people would agree with you and say the same because I've
With the
heard the same.
signing of Mitchell with the Cavs and what the Magic have done, I have them behind those teams, and we're still talking about eight. That's seven teams in the top East, and I think the Heat, like us, they're on X. They hear the noise, they see the disappointment, and they're saying, "Wait a minute, we can still run it back. I don't care what Philly did. I don't care what the Magic did. I don't care what the Villanova Knicks are doing. Fuck Boston. We can run it back." That's how they feel. And listen, they may have a point because we can't count them out because it is literally the same. It's the same lineup that caused all this disruption just 2 seasons ago. It's the same lineup. It hasn't. If anything, it's gotten better. So I understand what you're saying with with the Heat fans. Some of them are jumping off the bandwagon a little prematurely there, but listen, they have a right to be mad. I think they're gonna make some noise. The East is very interesting. This is gonna be a great, great season coming up for the
Yeah,
East. The Eastern Conference basketball is back.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I can't even wait right now just to watch some Olympics and some summer league basketball. We already got some of the schedules out today, so I am ready to watch basketball and football that's coming up soon. I'm ready for both of those too.
Yeah, we can talk about some notable summer league games. I'm curious to see what Bronny James does. I'm curious to see what the Celtics pick looks like.
I want to see
That
what the
that
76ers pick looks like before he starts getting clowned for all his TikTok videos. But I do want to see how he plays in there.
Listen, this kid is setting himself up.
He knows it too.
If
I'm
he
sure he
has one bad game, it is over for him.
knows. Social media is gonna go crazy.
No one has come in the league dancing more than this kid. Honestly, I haven't even seen his highlights. He's good. He was at Duke, right? He's at a
Yeah,
Duke, so I'm
yeah.
sure he was good. But dude, if you're gonna be doing all that fucking TikTok and all that dancing, you better ball out. That's the only way to justify all this TikToking, dancing, and all this shit that you're doing, man. Before you even
Just
play a game,
just help Joel Embiid, please. That's all you got to do.
dude.
Just help him.
What if he goes off and it's the
Yeah,
Maxi, McCain, and George, and not not to mention they kept the crazy guy. I always forget his name.
Oubre.
Yeah, they kept Kelly Oubre, dude.
Yeah,
The Knicks. I mean, the
he was
Sixers.
a great signing too.
The Sixers have something down there, man. So I'm excited to see what happens, man. Let's see. Let's keep an eye on this thing. Next is gonna be some summer league games. We'll talk about the summer league. We'll talk about USA basketball. I think the USA basketball schedule has. I don't think it's been released yet.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think there was just some photos out there of some of the players wearing the new jerseys, but that's all we got at least from that part.
Okay. So next podcast in a couple days.
We'll do another podcast on Saturday night. We'll have another update for you guys to see what has happened. I do think by the ending of this week there is going to be another big move happening in the NBA. So we'll be here Saturday night to talk to you guys with it, and we'll see you next time on the Final Point podcast.
Peace.